story, I'm telling you, because even within the government, it has not settled well with even the bigger representation of the Kenya Kwanza government. In point, Senator Kiage. And this is interesting, by the way. And we're going to get to see and see what Kenyans are talking about on that particular one. He said, it looks now more than ever in this particular country, cartels have found a free way to operate within the government. Remember, this government came into power saying, we are going to take away state capture, isn't it? Now, Kiage, who's heavily a supporter of the Kenya Kwanza government, comes in and says, it looks as if cartels now are operating in free will within the Kenya Kwanza government. And remember, it's not even been 100 days, Nancy.
Right. So we'll just be looking to see that. But Simba as well, remember the Azimio leader, Raila Odinga, way back in the coalition government, was in support of the genetically modified organisms.
Yes.
And now he seems to be changing tune, of which he says it is a matter that needs more negotiation. So obviously it's a very interesting conversation, but just looking even at what scientists are saying about it, divided on the different opinions, just saying that it's not harmful, it's being used in other countries. Yeah. But again, it was banned 12 years ago in this country. So that is obviously, Simba, a topic and a discussion that we'll be looking to cover more in our newsroom today.
And they did say that they needed to have gotten back to the research that was done by the Mwai Kibaki's government that led to the banning, and say from this particular research, this has been the development all the way up to where we are right now. But that did not happen. But anyway, those are some of the stories that are going to take center stage, even as we talk about your trends this morning and your dailies. For now, let's take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, we cross over and see what it is that you're talking about in, actually not talking about, but where you're waking up as far as your dailies are concerned. Once we come back. All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Look Up TV and you are watching the Morning Drift. I am Simba Kiage, also with Nancy Nelima this morning, as we pretty much tell you exactly what is you're waking up to this morning. Nelima, I do have the standard here. Could you open to us on exactly what is trending on the Daily Nation?
Drift, and taking a look at the dailies, and I have a copy of the Daily Nation, and this is what you're waking up to. On the front page, Moses Courier faces tsunami of maize, and of course this is in regard to what you're talking about, Simba. The Kenya will import 11 tons of genetically modified maize seed. So the controversy over the GMOs that has seen MPs train their guns on Trade Cabinet Secretary, who is Moses Courier. Of course, with the Pokot South MP David Kosing threatening to collect signatures to impeach him. So there's a conversation about that. And of course, Kenyans as well, just being surprised how there was a plan for the genetically modified maize seed to come into the country, but they have already docked, Simba. And so there is just a conversation around it. Now, there could be a discussion on impeaching the Trade Cabinet Secretary, who is Moses Courier. Yeah. And so that story comes to you on page 2 and 3 of the Daily Nation in details. As well, Simba, then there is a photo there of Lionel Messi. And I do understand Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, one of the biggest upsets, by the way.
Right.
When you look at the World Cup in 2022, Argentina was not expected to lose to Saudi Arabia. But then, I gotta tell you though, a lot of conversations about the World Cup technology in terms of defining what is offside and not. Now you have to know that indeed, even as they lost, Argentina scored 3 goals in the first half against Saudi Arabia. All of them were declared as offside goals. So talk to me about tragedy.
Would you say then the stakes at World Cup are higher?
Now that Argentina is lost or what?
Not really, but in terms of just defining what an offside is, the rules of the game.
Yeah, I've got to tell you though, the second goal that was disallowed for offside as well, has led to a bigger conversation as whether it was off or not, and the technology that is used around this particular. And they did change a couple of rules in terms of determining what the offside goal is really in the 2022 World Cup. But that notwithstanding, Nelima, the conversation is this: they lost. Starts there, ends there, because even if they could have been given maybe that one that was maybe led to a conversation on whether it was off or not, still they'll get one goal back, which essentially would have not seen them win the match. So they lost.
Okay, and I believe there's more conversation on the World Cup that we'll be having, and there's also Ruto Raila face new headache in Mount Kenya. Because Simba, this follows the East African Legislative Assembly. Remember, there are MPs who were nominated from either sides of the divide. Kenya Kwanza, 5 members of parliament, and for the Azimio there were 4. And so they're facing Mount Kenya, the Mount Kenya headache, of course, at this point, because there seemed to be a notion that the mountain had disregarded the president's directive and voted in one of their own. But we saw the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, then defend that and say that the people of Mount Kenya are open-minded and will vote for whoever they think is best suited. But of course, that's just raising eyebrows as to if there is a rift already in the Kenya Kwanza Brigade. So that is a conversation that is ongoing. And of course, that story comes to you on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Simba, I will throw it to you. Let us know what is happening on your end.
Pretty much. But the only news story around here, other than the Courier story, if you want to read on the Standard, then you'll see exactly what the main page is talking about. Now, there's a new school fee burden for parents. Now, listen, if you look at the school categories that are being highlighted here by the Standard, they're talking about how the variance in school fee, by the way, for the year 2023 is going to be around 8,554 shillings. That's for the national and extra county schools. And then there's going to be county and sub-county schools. Boarding, parents have to part with an extra 5,535 shillings. And special needs boarding primary school, but they have to part with an extra 2,000 shillings. Read that story into page 8 of the Standard. But then again, other than the messy story and all that, the impeachment motion of Governor Mwangaza Nelima is been approved. Yeah, so the first governor is going to be out. And listen, by the way, it's shocking, 68 Nelima out of 69 Meru County MCAs have drafted an impeachment motion against Governor Kawira Mwangaza, citing nepotism as the reason they're supporting this motion. So when you look at this, Nelima, does that mean that she's out, technically?
Well, Simba, there's a process of ousting a governor. So I believe that due process is going then to be followed. But of course, this is a county that already was in, there was a lot of conflict even from the onset, as soon as Kawira Mwangaza assumed office. And of course, all those allegations from appointing her husband as one of the CECs, to her sister as one of her bodyguards, to her in-law. There's just a lot about those accusations that are being made against the governor of Meru, Kawira Mwangaza. But we're looking to see how the due process, of course, being followed, because the ousting of a governor is just not. Remember, we had the governor. There was a governor who was impeached. The attempts to impeach him up to 9 times. Yeah. So Simba, it is just not, you just don't wake up one day and the governor is out. Then due process has to be
followed.
Yes, exactly.
But when you look at this particular one, that 68 out of 69 of them are approving this motion, it looks as if they're going to keep on trying, unless something changes in between, isn't it? When this particular one maybe might change, even if you're following due process. When you have 68 out of 69 coming back and saying we don't need you as a governor, then you see that is somebody who's already not essentially needed in that government, you were saying, Nelima.
And Simba, one thing that is coming out very clear is the power of members of county assembly.
Ooh,
during campaigns, there is a notion that it's probably the smallest office but it's one that has a lot of influence.
It does.
So, and I understand now it's time for people to know more about their constitution, just to understand the roles and responsibilities of the different elective positions, because then the members of county assembly can oust a governor from office.
I'll tell you that. Anyway, that's exactly what is taking center stage on the dailies this morning. But something caught my eye here. I will tell you, Nelima, essentially when we're talking about the Standard, there's a story that they are running on page 3 of the Standard, and they're talking about how one Eunice Nyambura, who was holding a copy of the hospital bill and a photograph of her husband whose body has been lying in a hospital's mortuary for over a year. Nelima.
Right.
A year. At a home in Old Rongai, Nakuru County on Monday. So this particular hospital, I will tell you, they are demanding over 2.0 million shillings for oxygen that the late husband, I don't know whether to call him late now because his body has been lying in a mortuary for over a year. And then Nelima, now they said that now again another bill now for the mortuary again would come in. So you're looking at upwards of 5.5 million shillings currently for the body to be released. Right. And for the bill that was outstanding then to be released for them to get the body of their kin out of that particular mortuary. Whoa, 1 year.
Right, and Simba, that is also a story that we covered in our bulletin yesterday night. And of course, it's heartfelt, being that then people are not able to get closure. And of course, that was also the conversation online. Yeah. People just wondering, when does that family then get to have closure? And at what point do hospitals and of course mortuary facilities as well, to what end do they chase for this money at the expense of people's well-being? That is the conversation that is ongoing, Simba. But of course, we'll be following up just to see how it unveils. I'll
tell you that as well. Anyway, that's exactly what we have for you, in as much as the dailies are concerned at this particular hour. Now, you don't know. Go grab yourself a copy of that one. But some of the stories, like Nancy Nelima is talking about this morning, are covered on our socials. Now, all you can do is look up TV across all your social media platforms. And once you're there, a subscription, a comment, and a like is exactly the best that you can do us this morning. Once we come back, let's take you online so we can get to see what it is that you're talking about as far as your trends are concerned. Welcome back. You are watching The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Kiage. Let's then cross over to what it is you're talking about online, in as much as your trends are concerned. And I would like to pick this one from a tweet center. It is by, I'm going to open by Roslyn Okome. If you remember, this was a former IEBC official who, I don't know, for lack of a better word, Nelima, I don't know whether it's okay to say that, who bolted out of the country.
Yeah, she said she was running for safety. Yes.
I didn't want to say that. Thank you very much for helping me. Who bolted out of the country because she was a bit concerned about her safety upon speaking the truth about the 2013, isn't it? Elections. 2017 elections. All right, let's talk about what she's tweeting about this morning. And this, she's not tweeting about herself because essentially, majority of the Kenya Kwanza officials now feel, indeed, it is justified to talk about cartels within the Kenya Kwanza government. Chris, is our tweet center ready so we can get to read that tweet together this morning? Is it? It's not? All right, let me try trace it. It's ready. Good. This is what it says. Dr. Roslyn Akambe. She's saying, in Kenya, cartels own the country. Musical chairs at the top, but same cartels pulling the strings and making the money. Now, this is what she said, and I've not really delved so much into that. And let me take you back to that particular tweet then, so we can get to look at it together. No, right. Actually not this. But I'll be very much interested to see exactly what Kenyans are talking about on this particular one. And this is then what they're saying. And from here, under that, she was responding to a tweet by Business Daily that was talking about how a ship with 10,000 tons of maize docked in Mombasa yesterday, even before the instruments of power that see us straight. Moses Korea, who's in South Korea with the president, Ruto, was signed into place. Nelima, quick reaction, cartels. And then that's also a word that was reiterated by Senator Cherargei when he's talking about it seems that cartels are now operating free will within the government. Do you support, do you concur that indeed this will be a cartel movement?
Well, you know, Simba, obviously can't confirm, but as well, that is a conversation. I even remember during the deputy presidential debate, where it was Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua. Then Rigathi Gachagua, who is now the deputy president, spoke largely about the cartels and how the Kenya Kwanza government is then going to make sure that the state is free from that capture. So obviously all eyes are on the Kenya Kwanza government because cartels have been said to exist for a very long time within Nairobi County within the maize sector. They have been said to be existing for such a long time. And now that the Kenya Kwanza confidently just saying that the state is going to be free from all the capture, from all the cartels, and even all the public servants, then nothing political. There will not be any political witch hunt or any of the public servants going to be used to tamper with any of course, of the government's job. So that is something that we are looking to see, because there is obviously something that is not right with the genetically modified organisms, the seeds that have docked already at a time when now the government is considering bringing them in. So definitely some answers are required. Kenyans need answers, and the different agencies have shied away from saying anything. So the Kenyans really deserve answers. So we're just going to look into what some of these agencies or the government in itself and the Trade Cabinet Secretary, who is Moses Kuria, has to say about this.
But it's interesting because there have been some toned down conversations on how some members of parliament, especially from the maize growing regions in the country, are saying, guys, let's impeach this guy ASAP, because then we don't understand how you will say that you're planning to do that, and before proper consultations are done within the country, here it is. There's a ship already in Mombasa, so the documents are going to be signed, and then the trade then officially becomes a government-protected trade.
Right, Simba.
That's what the problem is, Nancy. That yes, we do not oppose, but talk to us first. Let's see what's going to happen, especially what that is going to do with the prices of Kenyan farmer cereal within the country, because we do expect it's going to be hit heavily. You can't compete with import duty-free GMO into the country, Nancy.
Right, and of course there was a conversation around Rift Valley and Trans Nzoia as well, where farmers are saying they have harvested more than they actually expected, and they had even said they could donate this food even to counties that are suffering with drought. So then there's enough maize to sustain the country up to around March. That was the conversation by David Kosing. And so these are now the answers the Kenyans are seeking to get. Because if there is enough maize in the country to feed us till next year, then do we have the urgency then to import the seeds, the maize seeds that are genetically modified?
Yeah, I'll tell you that. Let's quickly rush then into the last one this morning, and we've already spoken about it. It's about the brew, or the beef that is brewing in Mwangaza's government, as the Meru governor, isn't it?
Right.
All right, there it is. They're saying MCA has approved a motion to impeach Governor Kawira Mwangaza. By the way, she was in Istanbul with her husband for holiday. When you see her in Istanbul this early, it's as if things are very hot in the country, so you got to run away to cool off.
Oh well, but Simba, as I had said, remember that due process will be followed. We have seen this. We have seen former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko being impeached.
Yeah.
We've also seen former Kiambu Governor, who is Waititu, being impeached as well.
Yeah.
But
we also saw impeachment proceeding against Kirinyaga Governor Anne Baigore, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, we were following those proceedings as well. But it's as easy as it's hard, Simba. So this is obviously something we were following closely, the politics of Meru, and Karera Mwangaza obviously taking the center stage and just looking at that. Simba, let me just read one tweet right here from Atieno Nyar Asego across Twitter, and she says, Meru MCAs have decided to give Governor Karera Mwangaza and her bay enough time to enjoy their vacation. Yeah, and then when they come back, then she'll be ousted. So of course there's a lot going on social media. Of course Kenyans on Twitter just doing what they do best, being creative. But then like you mentioned, Simba, 67 out of 69 Meru MCAs approved the motion to impeach Governor Karera Mwangaza. So the conversation is getting serious.
I'll tell you that.
Right.
Anyway, that's exactly what we have for you in as much as the trends are concerned. But remember, we are online as we speak across all those social media platforms and Look Up TV across all of them. I am at Kiage Simba Nancy.
And I am at Nelima Nancy. And the hashtag is The Morning Drift. And we do have to take a very short break right now. But Simba, Elijah Charles Kiage will be coming back with the news.
The Healing Jesus campaign is coming to Kenya. Join evangelist Dag Heward Mills as he preaches the gospel of salvation with miracles, signs and wonders. The campaign will be held in 2 towns, Tika on the 29th of November to the 1st of December and Nyeri from the 2nd to 4th of December at 4 p.m. each night. There will also be a dynamic gathering for pastors dubbed Identifying Dangerous Enemies Conference during the mornings of the Tika campaign from the 29th of November to the 1st of December. In addition, there will be a pastors conference on the 3rd of December, which is the second day of the Nyeri campaign. For more information and registration, please call the numbers on the screen. +254 792 123 789 or +254 724 049 619. You can also visit the website ideckenya.org. Kenya will never be the same again after this encounter with the Anointed and His anointing through the Healing Jesus campaign. We will see you there.
So mimi nilikuwa mmoja wa timu kubwa ya Hasana na gojea mazao yake.
Na bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni awamu nyingine tena ya bunge la mwenyeji ambapo tunasikia tu maoni ya wenyeji hasa wananchi wa kawaida. Je, maoni ni yapi?
Anakwambia wananchi ndio kila kitu. Unaona dipsi na system ni wananchi. Unaona vile wamenyorosha watu bwana.
Tumeng'oa nanga kwenye bunge la mwenyeji.
So ile kitu nasema tunamuomba asituachilie.
Ni wakati wa mkutano. Jioni kwenye kamati ya kijiji.
Hadithi hii ilianza mwaka 1991.
Vipi kuhusu ngano kwenye shamba langu kikauka? Haina haja. Tutakupa kwa njia pia tukafuje.
Mkoa unaojendesha uanisha hui ulitekeleza sera ya makazi mapya ya kuhamisha watu wa maeneo yenye umaskini ya Shiaigu ili waweze kujikimu.
Ninatumaini sana kwamba siku moja jangwa hapa litakuwa kijani kibichi na mji wetu wa Mining utakuwa na miundombinu kamili.
Welcome, you're watching The CEO. On this show, where we invite masters, captains of industry.
It's all about working in teams. Customers are happy, it's a good month, the markets are good. I mean, those are very exciting moments.
Ladies and gentlemen who tell us where and how to find money and put money in our pockets and how to go about doing business in the best possible way.
For me, I'm not serving myself, I'm serving community.
Welcome back. You are watching Look Up TV, but more suddenly, the Morning Drift. Thank you very much for taking your time to be part and parcel of our programming this morning. For now, let's cross over to the newsroom so we can get to talk about the biggest headlines that you are waking up to this morning. Now, the majority of members of Meru County Assembly have supported the motion to impeach Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza of a one-day term as constitutional violation by the governor. In support of the motion that was tabled by the majority whip Dennis Kiogora, 68 out of 69 MCAs signed the motion to impeach the Meru County boss. Shata Kareria opens the bulletin this morning.
It now appears that the bad blood between Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza and the Meru County MCAs is far from over, even after the reconciliation meeting that was meant to end the beef.
In Annex 1 Year 2, to move a motion for the impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County, for one.
With only 3 months in office, the first governor to be elected on an independent ticket was on Tuesday morning subjected to an impeachment motion, with the majority of the MCA supporting her ouster. In a motion tabled by the majority whip Dennis Kiogora, who is the Abogeta ward representative, accused the governor of creating a irredeemable toxic environment, stating that he cannot work well with other county staff. The motion that 68 out of 69 members voted in its favor.
The first charge against the governor is nepotism, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissals, and usurpation of the constitutional and statutory functions of county organs. Under this charge, we have the appointment of the husband to county offices, roadside appointment of county workers at Mau, roadside appointment of county workers at Nkubu, roadside appointment of county workers at Kianjai, contempt of court.
The fallout between the governor and the ward reps has attracted an exchange of bitter words between the two parties, with the governor frequently accusing the MCAs of pushing for their selfish interest.
I will not be intimidated to be a thief. I will not. Sitakubali hiyo. Nataka kila mtu afuate sheria na kila mtu atosheke na mshahara wake. Mimi kama gavana nimetosheka na mshahara wangu. Kwa hivyo naomba kila mtu atosheke. Sisemi hamjatosheka, lakini naomba nikiwa gavana kila mtu atosheke na mshahara wake.
The genesis of the standoff can be traced on the ward fund, which the MCAs have been persuading the governor to give them with no gain.
Governor watatu amesema hakuna equalization fund, yeye ndiye ataenda kutafuta project yeye mwenyewe, ndiye ataimplement, na kazi ya bunge itakuwa kukaa bunge na oversight kutoka bunge.
It is a wait and see situation if the governor will appear before the chambers of the county assembly on 29th to defend herself. After today's nod, the fate of Kawira now lies before the Senate, as it is the final stage of impeachment. Mwangaza will be the first governor in Meru and the first governor since devolution to face impeachment with the shortest time in office. Shedra Kareria, Look Up TV.
Shall keep tabs on that story, and any development, you shall be sure that it shall be reported right here on our Look Up TV. Now, 4 Kiambu County officers inducted in the collapsed Ruaka building that left 2 people dead will remain in police custody for 10 days. Kiambu Court's Magistrate Manuela Kinyanjui has granted the prosecutors additional time to conclude investigations into the matter before they can take plea on manslaughter charges. Henry Tender with more.
Officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations will have additional 10 days to conclude investigations into the involvement of 4 Kiambu County officers in the collapsed 6-story building in Ruaka town that claimed the lives of 2 people. This after Kiambu County Chief Magistrate Manuela Kinyanjui granted the prosecution request for additional time.
The suspects are charged with, are suspected to have committed serious offenses. This is a matter of great public interest, as the lives of the general public are at risk. I note the various stakeholders will be involved in the investigations, and in the interest of justice, I shall grant the police a period of 10 days to complete investigations and prefer necessary charges. And so the respondents will be detained at Karori police station. So we'll mention after 10 days.
The four, Stephen Bundi, John Murimi Mwobe, Pauline Njeri Wanjiku and Geoffrey Mathini Kamau, through their lawyer Ben Mwangi, had put up a spirited fight for their freedom, arguing that they are remorseful of what happened and cannot in any way interfere with the ongoing investigation.
Nothing has been demonstrated. No tangible evidence has been adduced why the court should allow the application for detention of the accused persons for 14 days.
However, the prosecution led by Helen Gesa from the Office of Directorate of Public Prosecution made clear their case why the four should remain in custody, the court granting their request.
The charges that are intended to be preferred against the suspects are felony in nature, including manslaughter, which are very serious offenses that attract a very high penalty. And as such, our suspicion of interference with investigations by the suspects is founded.
The said respondents are likely to interfere with the investigations if set free during the stated period, since the matter is of public interest and there are other persons who are still at large and who need to be arrested.
The four officers are faced with manslaughter charges. They are accused of sleeping on the job, a situation that led to the construction of illegal building that collapsed a week ago. The owner of the building, Jennifer Wangari Kamau, who was arrested at JKIA airport while trying to flee the country, did not appear in court. The court was told she is sick and admitted at a city hospital. The four have been ordered to appear before the court on 8th of December this year. Henry Tende, Look Up TV.
A family in Old Rungai, Nakuru County, is in distraught and are crying for help after the body of their patriarch, who succumbed to COVID-19 complications on 6th October 2021, was detained by Nakuru Maternity Nursing Hospital for more than 1 year now due to an outstanding bill of 5.5 million shillings. Ian Kitani files the report.
Humphrey Mwai Kigera, who fell ill and was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital in Nakuru before being transferred to Nakuru Nursing Home for further treatment after showing signs of COVID-19 in September last year, passed away on the 6th of October 2021 due to COVID-related complications.
Na huyu ameaga ni mzee yangu. Na aliaga juu ya corona. Aliaga on 6 October 2021. Nasi ndio alienda Karaswa. Akakaa huko mwezi moja. Akipewa matibabu. Sasa ile aliaga tukampeleka mochari ya Umachi. Sasa anakaa Umachi kutoka siku hiyo mpaka wa leo.
However, despite receiving treatment, Mwai remained at the intensive care unit before losing his battle to COVID-19. His body was then transferred to Marsh Funeral Home by the hospital management, where it is being detained due to the hospital bill amounting to Kenya shillings 5.5 million, besides a bill of 500,000 owed to the funeral home.
Liwabiwa tutoe pesa hiyo milioni 5.5 ndio tupewa mwili. Sasa sisi tukashindwa. Kuenda huko tena makasema hatutaki kusikia hiyo maneno yenu, tunataka pesa. Na hii na sasa hii bill ikakuwa mingi sana. Hatukuwa na uwezo wa kutoa ndio tupewe mwili tukuje tusike. Sasa ako tu Umachi. Tunangojea tu mtu yule atakuwa na roho msafi atusaidie ndio tukuje tumfunike.
According to Mwai's wife, Eunice Nyambura, the detention of the body has been torturous to the family that depends on farming, saying that efforts to speak with hospital management on the review of the bill have been futile.
Yule tulikuwa tunasiliana na yeye ni huyu baba yao. Hata ako na wadada lakini walitutenga. Sisi tuko na watoto yangu tu sasa hii. Hakuna mtu mwingine na Mungu. Mali tutega kwa sababu ya hii bill. Makaona kwa sababu hawana uwezo hata hawa na sisi hawana. Sasa ni kutolokea hii bill. Kwa ninakaa tu na Bible yangu. Kila siku mimi naomba. Nauliza Mungu Kila nikipata na shida, mimi ni kuomba tu. Hakuna kitu kingine nisaidia mimi.
Nyamburo's neighbor James Kariuki lamented that the community has been unable to raise the required funds, saying it can only be settled by people of goodwill, urging the government to intervene to ensure Mwai is laid to rest.
Mimi ni jirani ya huyo ndugu yangu Bwana Kigera Mwai, ni jirani yangu hapa. Na tumekaa naye hapa zaidi ya miaka 30 ya udise. Kwa hivyo serikali ile ingesaidia ni kuzungumza na haya mahospitali na mocharizi ili waweze kuzungumza, tuangalie hii gharama inaweza kumbuswa kwa njia gani kwa wananchi, kwa sababu bili zikiwa nyingi namna hiyo, watu wengi katika jamii, mtu wao akifa watakuwa ni kuumia tu, kwa sababu hawapewi mwili na hawana njia ya kulipa.
Ian Kitani, Look Up TV.
President William Ruto arrived in South Korea ahead of the bilateral talks with South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol. In his visit to the Asian country, President Ruto is expected to discuss how to expand economic ties between the two countries, in addition to exploring areas of cooperation, especially in ICT, education, pharmaceutical and infrastructure. The head of state is also scheduled to attend a business forum where he will market Kenya as a suitable investment destination for foreign investors.
Alfie, how are you? Very good. Hello, how are you? Very good. Hello, how are you?
Sure, I'm good.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Mr. President, Angola ambassador.
From Angola?
Yes.
Okay, I was with your vice president in Coke.
Oh, yeah.
He represents both Korea and Kenya.
Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika has now vowed that she will not change her executive nominees for the position of chief executive members, despite various court petitions challenging the list, even as MCAs from the county figured out Rongai Member of Parliament Paul Chebor for the woes currently facing Kihika and her government.
Na wale pena wamenipeleka kotini ni wale wengi walikuwa upande ule. Sasa ulikuwa upande ule na unakuja hapa kuitisha kiti by force, uruteroko, utolewe wapi? Si sasa mimi nilikuja kwa wananchi nikauza sera zangu. Waka-agree na sera zangu. Wakaamuka kila mtu kutoka kwa nyumba yake. Kura over 400,000 mkanipigia na amu kutoka kwa nyumba moja. Si kila mtu alitoka kwake akaenda akanipigia. Sasa wale mlisema sera zao hazijatosha, mbona wafikiri sasa watakuja kunidictatea nitaweka nani? Out of ministers 10 yenye nimepatiwa na sheria, county yangu ya Nakuru iko na constituency 11. Sawa sawa? Sasa mimi in my little wisdom, kwa ile wisdom kidogo niko nayo, nikasema ile usawa ya kweli, ili hakuna mahali watu watalia, ni kila constituency na ipe waziri mmoja. Na kwa sababu constituency ni 11 na waziri niko na 10, basi yenye itakosa waziri ni ile nimeshapatia deputy governor.
Governor akaita kwake nyumbani, akaita mheshimiwa ambaye alikuwa anatoa huyu mtoto ya Moi, akaita Wakikuyu kado, akaita Wakalenjin kado. Huyo mtu akapata kura. Sasa ndiye amempeleka mahakamani.
Moving on, the Nandi County government, in collaboration with the Opana Institute, has launched the second phase of collecting important information from the county's departments and presenting it to the public to enhance transparency, as well as how Nandi seek funding from various organizations. Acting Minister of Finance Alfred Lagat and Chief Administrator of Opana Institute Al Kags have lauded the move, saying the fruits of the program are already being enjoyed.
About a year ago, we started an engagement with an organization called Open Institute to put up a data desk, which is an online platform hosted by the county government. And this platform is basically to gather all the data on all the areas that we've had interventions in as a county government. We have data on agriculture, we have data on health, we have data on basically everything that we can call devolved functions in the county government.
The team within the economic and planning unit, as well as within the data desk team, they've been able to work and make sure that the data is now available. So I would call on all partners, all citizens, if you go to data.nandicounty.go.ke, you'll be able to take a look at the data. It's going to be extremely useful for anyone who is trying to make an investment here in Nandi, anyone who's trying to plan how they will produce here in Nandi. And I think that we are making very good progress.
Now, the Family Bank Group has recorded a 3.5 billion shillings profit before tax for the first 9 months of 2022, up from 2.6 billion recorded in a similar period in 2021, marking a 33.2% growth in earnings. Erin John Mukoro reports.
While releasing the results, Family Bank CEO Rebecca Mbidi attributed the growth to strong partnership during the review period, as well as healthy jump in non-interest income. The group's loans book expanded by 22.7% to 79.8 billion shillings in the review period, while customers' deposits also grew by 13.8% to 92.7 billion shillings. Total non-interest income increased by 22.4% to close at 2.7 billion shillings for Q3 2022, supported by a strong capital base, a factor that further pushed the total assets of the group by a further 19.9% to hit 128.5 billion shillings in the period. Net interest income increased by 9.8% to 6.2 billion shillings, supported by an increase in interest income on loans and advances. Family Bank's aggressive strategy on government security continued in the period, with the segment recording a 16.6% growth, with loans and advances recording a 40.7% growth in the period. Similarly, non-funded income increased by 22.4% from 2.3 billion shillings to 2.7 billion shillings for the period under review, with income from fees and commissions registering a decline of 50.1% to stand at 84.6 million shillings. Total operating expenses slightly increased by 3.6% to 5.5 billion shillings from 5.3 billion shillings. The banking industry, that has been recording a drop in loan loss provisions post the COVID-19 pandemic, also saw Family Bank loan loss provision register a 42.1% reduction to close at 469.6 million shillings. Edwin John Mukora, Look Up TV.
Let's move on to the update of the results from the ongoing Qatar 2022 World Cup, where it's not such a good morning for Argentina fans because they lost their first match of the group stage matches after going down 2-1 to Saudi Arabia. Now, Lionel Messi scored from the penalty spot in the 10th minute to give Argentina the lead, with Saudi Arabia trailing by that goal. They made a surprise comeback in the second half, even after Argentina scored 3 goals that were declared off. Now, the worry added a second 5 minutes later after Saudi scored their first. Now, that defeat saw Argentina's 36-game unbeaten run come to an end. It was also only the second time that Argentina lost its opening match of a World Cup tournament since losing to Cameroon in 1990.
For he and Argentina, this is where their World Cup challenge...
For an early lead. Lionel Messi, always centre stage. Against Ghana in 2 days' time. But they've worked the ball to Al-Shehri, who's got a shot on target and scored for Saudi Arabia.